The mountains surrounding Asheville haven't changed much over the years. They paint the picture of a quiet, scenic town. But the cranes and construction show a much different reality downtown. A growing city fighting to balance new faces and busy streets with the easy way of life that locals love.
From what I saw when I was a young boy to what it is now, it's more integrated, it's more diverse.
Every step through downtown Asheville with a local.
Well, I grew up in the projects. I grew up in Hillcrest, so I am a true local citizen.
Is a step back into what the city once was. In the late 70s and early 80s, the downtown was deserted. Buildings on Eagle Street boarded up.
Lots of people are moving out from downtown area.
Now, it's the opposite. We walked the exact same block with former city council member Eugene Ellison. He says the hustle and bustle you see today is all because of a decision made 3 decades ago. That's when leaders began working on a somewhat unpopular plan to invest millions into what was a struggling downtown.
I think back when I was on the council, being architects of this, you got to be careful what you ask for, you might get it. Well, we got it. Asheville invested about $20 million in downtown when it was empty.
That move started moving more people to Asheville. Those who come for the weekend and those who relocate their families here from afar. Since 2000, the city's population has increased about 20%. But that gain is actually much lower than other cities in North Carolina, like Wilmington and Greenville.
The area might look a lot fuller than it really is, but actually when you look at the population growth rate, it's not that dramatic.
When it comes to the cost of living, though, those other cities have stayed the same or even dropped. But Asheville's cost of living has skyrocketed. This chart measures Asheville higher than even the national average and the most expensive city in the state by a landslide. The Council for Community and Economic Research measures cost of living differently, but still ranks Asheville at the top, more costly than even bigger cities in the South like Jacksonville, Florida, and Richmond, Virginia. So how did a thriving, booming community end up with so many struggling citizens? Economist Todd Tavit says it all falls back on 2 big factors.
I think it's the demand of the housing demand, and there again the gap in the wages that's the real difference between ourselves and bigger cities.
It's a cost that's hitting the streets of nearly every section of Asheville. On Haywood Road, business owner Tara Marshall is worried about the impact.
It's changed a lot, because back in the 90s, early 2000s, it was pretty affordable here.
She's watched the development herself and believes the city is close to reaching its limit. She says we've hit enough top 10 lists and wonders if there are now too many visitors.
Old Asheville was awesome. It's and you'd run into you'd go somewhere and everybody that was there you knew. Now you go places and you're like, wow, who are all these people?
But Ellison says the constant flow of tourists is a good thing.
And that tax base helps keep our taxes down. So the more tourists here spending money, the more money that are being paid in taxes.
But says Asheville's boom wasn't perfectly planned.
I think the one mistake that we made is the infrastructure did not keep up with the development.
Later this week, we're going to break down those infrastructure issues, specifically one big complaint, traffic delays all across the city. But first, tomorrow, we're going to talk about another big complaint, explaining why Asheville's cost of living is so high. Reporting in Asheville, Karen Zatkalak, News 13.